Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
So let's talk about boxes, some Christmas things. And there's a lot more boxes I'm going to write about that I can recommend for Christmas. But I wanted to just show the Blue Note box. This is the subscription series, Blue Note review series. And I wrote a full review of this on AnalogPlanet, which I'm sure you've read. But I wanted to show it to you because nothing beats actually looking at it. So this is the box. It's a beautiful cloth-bound box. And they did not skimp on any of this. Now, inside, the first thing you get, there's a note from Don Was, president of Blue Note. And it says, "The scene changes again. Welcome to the Blue Note Review, Volume 1. It's a subscription series. It's semi-annual, $200 a box." So that's just kind of a cool thing. You get a record mat, not the greatest. It's a little thick for my taste. And this is something that Ryan Adams came up with. Jazz is not a crime. Jazz is not. We all know jazz is not a crime. But okay, that's not here nor there. It's just a little tchotchke that they threw in. Then you get a John Varvatos scarf. So it's quite nice. It says it's a Blue Note, and it's got notes on it. And Don Was is a big scarfer. He's a scarf guy. I'm not, but I will learn to be one. I will learn to. I learned to have a scarf. Yes, because, you know, if you have a scarf, you're sophisticated and cool, and you speak with a British accent. So anyway, you get that. Again, not critical. But here's the meat of the set. It's this double LP set of unreleased material from the new Blue Note, not from the old Blue Note. And the song selection is quite good. And even we know these are all or mostly digital recordings, but they sound spectacular on vinyl because they were properly produced and recorded in the first place and processed and mastered by Bernie Grundman, our friend Bernie Grundman. And so what's on here is Charles Lloyd and the Marvels open the setup with Lady Gabor, which is a song by Gabor Zabor. And this has got Bill Frisell and Greg Lees on it. So it's a guitar-driven band with Charles Lloyd, which is quite interesting. It's recorded live at Royce Hall. Then there's a Lonnie Smith kind of cool, funky organ piece that I really enjoyed. You'll enjoy it. And then there's side B. You get Gregory Porter, who's really a wonderful vocalist. He's got a brand new album, a tribute to Nat King Cole. I have on order. It might even be outside today. Highly recommended. I'll review it when it shows up. So there's him with the Blue Note All-Stars, recorded at Capitol Studios. Then there's a song by the Blue Note All-Stars called Turnaround, which is also quite good. And then on side C is a Terence Blanchard ballad called Memory of a Flame that was my favorite track on the whole record. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous ballad. And I don't care if you're an analog fanatic and a digital phobic person, the sound on these records, you will not complain about the sound on these records, I promise you. And then there's a Derek Hodge track. And then on the third track on side C is Candace Springs featuring Ambrose Ankh-Muzier. I don't know these people, I have to say. But when I finished listening to this, the people I didn't know, I wanted to know. So this worked on me. I'm going to go out and get those recordings from these people. So you could say, and then it ends with a Wayne Shorter quartet, because Wayne Shorter was re-signed to Blue Note, called Zero Gravity number 913. It takes up a whole side. It's the most out there avant-garde track among them, and so they put it on side 4 smart. So the song selection was smart by Don Was, and the tracking was smart to put that on the end of the record. And that's got John Patitucci and Danilo Perez and Wayne Shorter, and it's quite good. That's all I can say is good. I'm not going to analyze it note for note for you because I'm not good at that to begin with. Anyway, 2 records pressed at RTI, double record set, beautifully packaged, unreleased, unavailable anyplace else. That's that. Now comes the most controversial part of the whole package. And that is this reissue of this Blue Mitchell record. As I explained in the write-up, this Blue Mitchell record was recorded in 1963, but it never was released in '63. It was shelved for reasons that are not quite known. It's surmised either it was because one of the musicians, Leo Wright, the alto saxist, was a little bit off pitch for part of it. I didn't hear that as being a problem, but the real reason is probably because the group that Blue Mitchell was in with Horace Silver broke up shortly after this was recorded, and Mitchell got together a whole new group and recorded an album for Blue Note as well. So this group was kind of like obsolete, and it didn't get released. It finally got released in 1970, I believe, when Michael Kuskuna was involved with Blue Note. And so it was available for a short time in 1970, and then it disappeared. So they decided to make it available again. Two things about this. They did do a tip-on type jacket, paper on cardboard, not laminated like a Music Matters type of reissue. But the fact of the matter is, you know, a Music Matters reissue is $50 or $60 by itself. This whole box is $200 with all the stuff that you get, so they couldn't quite lavish that kind of attention on it. The record itself is well pressed at RTI, but to my ears, reading in the back note, it says mastered by Ron McMaster at Capitol and vinyl mastering by Ian Sefcik. So Ian Sefcik cut the lacquers. If there's two mastering credits, 99 times out of 100, that means it was cut from a digital source. This record, the music's great. It does not sound like what a Blue Note should sound like to me. The bass is missing in action. I mean, there's bass, but not a lot of bass. It's kind of a flat perspective. It sounds more like a CD. I'm very disappointed in that. It wouldn't stop me from buying this, though, because it's still good music, you know, and it doesn't sound terrible. It just doesn't sound as good as I think it can sound. I am going to hear one of the 70s, two issues from the 70s, one a Japanese pressing and one the original American one. In the next couple of days, I'm going to bring this to where I'm going to be going, and I'm going to compare it, and then I'll have more to say about it, because I think it's only fair to Blue Note and to readers to know how this compares to that 70s issue. And then you also get a few other things. So there's this insert that has, you know, there's content in this content. This is very interesting content. You'll want to read through this entire thing if you buy this set. There's a history of Blue Note with Bobby Hutcherson telling a story of Stanley Turrentine. It's a kind of an animated thing. Then there's an interview with Wayne Shorter by Jeff Garland from Curb Your Enthusiasm, who's a very big jazz fan, and who does a very, very good, thoughtful interview with Wayne Shorter. And then there's Don Was tells you how to tie a scarf, how to tie a schmata around your neck. You'll learn. And then there's a masthead page, which is very, very useful, and it tells you all the credits. And it also thanks, in memory of Alfred Lyon, one of the co-founders of Blue Note, and Bruce Lundvall, the late Bruce Lundvall, who helped resurrect the label in the early 90s. And Bruce Lundvall was a neighbor of mine, lived around the corner. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until he had already gotten pretty well advanced in his bout with Parkinson's. And I was able to get his phone number. I called him, and he talked, but he didn't sound great. He said, "I can't talk now, call me back," and he gave me a date to call him back. I called him back, and he couldn't talk anymore. It was very sad, and so I never got to really meet him, which is terrible, sad. He was right around the corner. I literally jogged past him every other day and didn't know. All right, I tell all these stories in the review, and there's more stuff in here. There's an invocation from Ram Dass, and you know, and Charles Lloyd remembers the great drummer Billy Higgins. This was a music lover, a Blue Note lover. Don Was, as the producer of this, picking the content, editing the content, and choosing all interesting things that you would like to read if you're a fan of Blue Note. There's no doubt that you'll come away after reading this enjoying what you read. And then you get these two photos suitable for framing, and one of Stanley Turrentine. You know, you read this, you look at these pictures, you understand why they talked about these people in that fold-out sheet. And both of these are beautifully reproduced, and certainly suitable for framing. So you get that. And then, for those of you so inclined, you get the same stuff on a CD, the double record. And that's what you get for your $200. And I think it's actually quite a reasonable deal, even though that one record is somewhat disappointing, and I hope for volume 2 they go back and cut it from analog tape and do it right. But I think that overall this is a very good presentation. And if you have any friends who are Blue Note fans and you want to spend a couple $100 on a Christmas present, I think they'll enjoy it very, very much. So that's that schmata. Okay? It's a nice box. There was some negative comments on the website. People post, I'm returning my box because it was digitally sourced, that one record. Really? Okay. But you know what? It's going to be collectible. I guarantee you. It's like I was just telling someone, people complained when Classic Records was charging $30 for Led Zeppelin records and $30 for Who records. How dare they charge $30? Do you want those classic records now? Go online and look them up. The Led Zepp's are going to cost you hundreds of dollars. You know, it's ironic, but buying records now is actually a pretty good investment. So I also brought some 45 boxes that are coming back. This is the Stax Vinyl 7-inch box. If you have a Stax fan in the family, I don't think these were cut from analog tape. I'm not under any illusions, but they sound great. The Stax stuff never sounded great anyway. It was always kind of bright. But it's an interesting collection of Stax singles with a nice little booklet. One of the great labels, one of the great indie label stories of the 60s. And you get these 7-inch singles. Interesting collection, not the most obvious stuff. And you get the knockout thing if you want to knock it out, or you can leave these in if you want to just play it on a regular spindle. Darrell Banks doing I'm the One Who Loves You. Sweet Cherry by J.J. Barnes. I'll Never Stop Loving You by Carla Thomas. And One More Chance. This is an interesting set of Stax singles, not, you know, the typical things you'd be expecting. And that's what makes it really fun. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I didn't know some of these artists, and I didn't know some of these, the Montclairs, not from Montclair, New Jersey. So these are all interesting tracks. When you play them, as I played them, I didn't know most of these songs. So it's an interesting selection of stuff. And yes, you have to get up and change the record after each song, so deal with it. So that's the Stax Vinyl box set. Hard to find. And this is compiled by a Northern Soul expert in the UK. Hard to find rare Stax singles. For the Stax lover in your family, this box set would be great. Okay. Now I have a couple of boxes here that were from Record Store Day. I don't know whether you can still find them. The Ramones single box, this is great. And this is all hit stuff. This isn't like obscure. So it's Blitzkrieg Pop, I Want to Be Your Boyfriend, Swallow My Pride, Sheen is a Punk Rocker, Rockaway Beach, Do You Want to Dance, Needles and Pins, written by Sonny Bono. So it's 10 singles, 20 songs. It's very cool. It's just fun to rock out. I love the Ramones, and that's this box. Again, I'm sure it was not cut from analog tape, but get real, all right? This is the Sex Pistols 45 RPM box. This is another Record Store Day project, and it gives you the US and the UK singles all in their original authentic jackets and labels, which is very cool. I mean, somebody went to the work to get them all. And if you were around during that period of time, music had gotten pretty unctuous, and these guys just came along and they couldn't really play, but they slashed it. They just, Holiday in the Sun, you know, it's just great stuff. If it's a Warner Brothers, you get Warner Brothers. If it's EMI, you get EMI. God Save the Queen, boy, that created a ruckus. And there you have it. So that's that box. Of course, if you have a jukebox, it's not even close. You're going to want to put these things on the... Well, maybe you won't. Maybe you want to preserve them because the jukebox is going to destroy them after a while. But still, very cool. And that's that. We have one more box. And I'll probably write these up also. But Here's the Doors singles box. This is limited edition of 10,000, and I think they'll end up selling these pretty easily. I mean, people still go to Jim Morrison's grave after all these years. So this will sell. So it's very, very nicely done. And the Doors manager, Jeff Jampol, is an audiophile and is very serious about audio. So I'm sure he was involved in putting this out. So you get this Post-it, which has got all kinds of labels from different countries. It shows you what you got inside, all the various Electra labels, and it's got all the Doors singles, you know, edited singles. So when you get Light My Fire, it's the single. They cut out all the noodling, all the fun part, and these are mastered by Bernie Grundman. Bernie Grundman mastered these. That's why I'm telling you that Jeff Jampol is an audiophile. He got Bernie to master these. So I don't know what the source was, but these do kick ass. They sound great. So for those of you who remember the Summer of Love and remember buying those singles, I do. Here's a box that has all of them. It's for fun. Well, that's it. I could go on and on about more boxes, but I won't, because I think I've said quite enough. So there'll be more boxes and more suggestions for Christmas, more things to buy on the Analog Planet website coming up soon. Have a Merry Christmas. There you go. Have a happy Hanukkah. Have a happy Kwanzaa. If you don't celebrate anything, put a big question mark on your front lawn. I stole that from Mort Saul. Okay, bye-bye.